Welcome back to the news at 10. Now, joining me to discuss the proposed amendment is the convener of the Situation Room, Mr. Clement Wankwo. You're welcome to the news at 10, Mr. Wankwo.
Thank you.
Now, what do you make of the plan to amend the Electoral Act to accommodate the card reader?
Well, what I think the Supreme Court did in the recent decision involving Ebonyi State was point out the vacuum in the Electoral Act that did not incorporate the use of the Electoral Act in the elections. And I think that this is a set questions asked or been asked. How do you make sure that the gains of the 2015 elections, the innovations, are reflected in the use of the electoral in the elections, in the Electoral Act, and used in future elections? I think what the Supreme Court did in what I consider a very good decision was to review the state or the status of the card reader in the conduct of elections. And clearly we saw from the decision of the Supreme Court that the card reader has not been anticipated in the Electoral Act, which takes us back to the drawing board. How do we ensure that the gains, the innovations by the Electoral Commission is reflected in the amendments that a lot of us are clamoring for should be included once the Electoral Act is up for review?
So do you support the use of the card reader in the Electoral Act?
I certainly think it's very useful to include it. I think that the card reader had very useful impact in the last elections. For politicians, there was a lot of confusion how to deal with this innovation, and that reduced a lot of the abuses that we see in the field when politicians cut away ballot boxes and ballot papers. So I think certainly it had its very positive effect. I think it'll be a sad loss that we don't use it. I think that for Nigeria and for the rest of the continent and the world, I think the elections in 2015 reflected a major milestone, and we should preserve all that made it to come that far.
Now, before the elections, you know, there was this to and fro, arguments for and against the use of the card reader. Would you say that the introduction of the card reader was right for that time? Were we ripe enough for that level of technology?
Well, certainly, I think that in the 2011 elections, you had the PVCs, and then the 2015, you had the card readers introduced. Given the experiences of elections before then, I think that what the card reader did was to confront those who were used to the old ways of running elections with a new system and a new situation that they couldn't comprehend. I think that helped to build the sanctity of the 2015 elections, and we must commend it for future elections.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Clement Wankwo, for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you.
And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Lagos.
Thanks a lot, Linda. And welcome back to Lagos. The Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, says over 2,000 kilometers of road is to be constructed across the country this year. The minister announced the plan while defending the budgets of his ministries at the House of Representatives. He said the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Dan Ali, was among those who also appeared today in the House. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi has more.
The venue of the budget defense is filled to capacity as officials of the Ministry of Works, Housing and Power appear for the annual exercise. A joint committee of Power, Housing and Works is on hand to receive them. The minister begins with government's plan for Nigerian roads.
Our resolve is that whatever we have, we will work with it and try to do the best that we can and try to get as much value as we can. So what have we done with the 433 billion that we submitted? Essentially, what we propose to do, if you approve, is to spend 268 billion naira on roads, 99 billion naira on power, and 66 billion naira on housing. So in year one, we will be focusing on 31 projects that will give us approximately 2,192.76 kilometers. In year two, there will be 55 projects that will give us about 2,683.63 kilometers. In year three, there will be 49 projects, which will give us about 2,051 0.59 kilometers.
The minister also touched on the power ministry.
We are currently at 5,000 megawatt generation peak, and that is a milestone of some significance in itself. It's a milestone that was not achieved historically until about a week and a few days ago. The target, therefore, is that at the end of 2016, we should be able to evacuate some of the power that is lying idle that can't get onto the grid. And the cumulative quantum of that power is in, as I said, the total installed capacity is about plus or minus 7,000 megawatts. So we will get incremental power onto the grid.
The Committee on Navy also had their defense session with officers of the Navy. The meeting, however, concluded behind closed doors. The Committee on Communications also had a meeting with the Bureau of Public Enterprises and the National Communications Commission. Lanre Lassese, Channels Television News.
The State House also had its day at the National Assembly as the Permanent Secretary of the State House, Mr. Jalal Arabi, reacted to criticism suggesting the 3.219 billion naira budget for the State House Medical Center is bloated. Mr. Arabi, who appeared before the Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs and the House Committee on Special Duties, says the improvements of facilities at the medical center will reduce medical tourism. Our State House correspondent, Chukuma Onekusi, reports.
Many Nigerians know that the State House is the official seat of the federal government of Nigeria, but what they may not know is that its operations are wide. The Permanent Secretary says the State House, among others, extends to Marina and the Dodam Barracks in Lagos. Most of the infrastructure in the places are calling for attention and need to be made to function optimally. Hence the need for increase in budgetary allocation to the State House.
There is an ambitious increase in the State House budget from the 2015 appropriation of 6.585322596 to 18.116573717 in the 2016 proposed budget. This increase, Mr. Chairman and honorable members, became necessary having prioritized projects and allowed top-level strategic goals to be linked to the budgeting process in line with the policy thrust of the federal government.
The budget defense takes him to the Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs, where he gives them a breakdown of some of the key areas, including recurrent of 4.273 billion naira, State House headquarters 8.26 billion naira, purchase of motor vehicles 699 million naira, State House Medical Center 3.219 billion naira. Of all the breakdown, that of the medical center attracts the most criticism.
We want to bring it up to a standard that, we can proudly say, well, behind our yard, courtyard, there is this facility and people can go, you can go, everybody can go, but we admit everybody.
The same questions he faces at the House of Representatives Committee on Special Duties. And the Chairman House Committee on Media gives his impression about the State House budget.
We have been really enlightened that it was just, in the past it was just a medical center, but this time they have upgraded it. And this is even to avoid medical tourism. And I think as members of the National Assembly, we'll appreciate if our leaders have a very good medical center that they can attend to, that will reduce costs. That will also be good for us.
The committees will now take their findings to the fuller Senate and House of Representatives sessions, hoping that the budget will be passed. Chukuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
The German President Joachim Gauck is in the country on a 5-day official visit to Nigeria. President Gauck, who arrived along with his wife through the Mirza Mohammed International Airport, met with Governor Akinwumi Ambode at State House.
Governor Akinwumi Ambode, his wife, the Deputy Governor, and the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly received President Joachim Gauck and his wife at the Government House in Ikeja on their first visit to Nigeria and West Africa. President Gog, who spoke through an interpreter, says he recognizes Lagos as the center of business activity and of critical development in Nigeria and the Sub-Sahara, and would like to strengthen his partnership with the state government in areas of science and technology, education, and entrepreneurial development.
We believe that here too, it is good to hear that first steps have been taken in the direction of strengthening the cooperation between private institutions, private companies, that is, and the government institutions in the area of providing vocational training.
On his part, Governor Ambode expresses the desire of his administration to partner with the Federal Republic of Germany.
We believe that we need to change the state of our transportation system in Lagos. And that's why we're quietly talking to some of the German companies that we want a situation where we can actually phase out some of the buses that we're using. And we should pride ourselves to be able to use some of the quality buses that come out from Germany. But beyond that, it also means that we must start to think about creating assembly plants and also workshop plants to grow the economy of Germany and at the same time grow the economy of Nigeria.
Governor Ambode then promised to continue to encourage foreign investment by putting in place measures that will ensure safety of lives and property of both Nigerians and foreigners in Lagos.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project is concerned about the 45% increase in electricity tariffs. The rights group is asking the Minister of Power, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, to ensure the regulatory authority does not get away with the hike in tariff price. SERAP is also demanding an immediate reversal of the hike. According to the group, Nigeria is an important member of the UN and has voluntarily accepted its charter and treaties. Therefore, any effort to increase electricity tariffs should be guided by the recommendations by the UN and dialogue with organized labor and other stakeholders. Time now for business news. Here's Imana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello there. Well, let's get straight into business. Nigeria's refineries are expected to resume production before the end of the month after a forced closure in January. According to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the Port Harcourt refinery is expected to restart its crude distillation unit on Saturday after receiving crude supplies by sea, to be followed by a resumption in pipeline supplies. The NNPC says the Warri and Kaduna refineries will kick off production a few days later. The corporation shut down the refineries last month after the key pipelines feeding the plants were attacked. And key indicators at the Nigerian equities market ended today's session slightly higher with a 0.02% increase. BC Adebayo reports.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Reports. The Nigerian equities market extended gains today, but this time with a marginal increase of 0.02%. The all-share index rose to 23,981.09 with a market capitalization of 8.24 trillion naira. 7up, Mobil and Seplat were the top three price gainers for the session. On the flip side, UACN, ETI and UBN emerged Tuesday's top price laggards. Financial stocks topped the volume chart as seen in FCNB, Diamond Bank and Guaranteed Trust Bank shares. When stocks crossed the finish line, investors had exchanged 169.50 million shares valued at 1.51 billion naira in over 3,000 deals. That ends the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo.
In the meantime, the global markets entered the second day of the week with negative trends still hanging around. Many investors were hopeful there could be a silver lining somewhere, but DW TV channel's correspondent at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, Olaf Krager, reports that the market is still suffering from concerns ranging from China to the US economic outlook and the global oil prices.
Still very bearish here in Frankfurt, not even in Frankfurt, in Paris, in London, and anywhere else. The same picture. The shares are going down, are going to the south, and here in Frankfurt we are heavily in the negative territory right now because the market is suffering the same concerns than all the days before. It's China. It's the economic outlook for the US, and of course the oil price. There obviously is no bottom line for the oil price, and the oil price needs this bottom line to rebound somehow. But until now, there are no hints that this situation and this atmosphere will dramatically change in the couple of next days.
Let's also see how the equities fared in other parts of the world. That's our package on Business News tonight. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Emana Amawe. It's back to Amarachi.
You first. First Bank.
The British American Tobacco has unveiled its new regional office for West Africa in Lagos. The event, which drew dignitaries from all over the country, shows how BAT Nigeria has impacted on the economy.
This beautiful edifice adorning Olumegbon Close off Alfred Ruwani Road in Ikoyi, Lagos, is the reason why dignitaries from all over the country have gathered in this hall.
Dr. Chris Ngige.
They are here to celebrate with the British American Tobacco Nigeria and the opening of its West Africa regional office, also called the Rising Sun. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo recollects the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the British American Tobacco Nigeria and the federal government 15 years ago.
So when our duty was to hold the country together and at the same time to encourage investment, both domestic and foreign, and to have a company like BAT wanting to come in then, we gave them red carpet.
That time we were looking for investors. We were, as a nation, opportuned to have BAT, British American Tobacco, Nigeria Limited, express the willingness, in spite of all the problems within a country, to come to Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
The chief executive of the British American Tobacco Nigeria, Mr. Chris McAllister, points out the achievement of the company, especially its contribution to the Nigerian economy.
We brought industrialization, so it's not only the cigarettes we produce here, it's the tobacco farming, it's bringing other local suppliers in, so most of the inputs to our cigarettes are in the Nigerian economy, stimulating the Nigerian economy. And the third thing I was proud of is the Nigerian people that we employ. I think they're the best and the brightest, they're hugely respected, they have great careers inside BAT, either here in Nigeria or abroad, or they go out into leadership positions elsewhere in the economy.
The high point of the event is the unveiling of the plaque. The British American Tobacco Nigeria was founded in 1902 and operates in various countries around the world. Its commitment to Nigeria is seen in its presence in different states of the country with interests in agriculture and its value chains.
Slot, a leading mobile phone retail outfit, is giving huge discounts on purchases made online and in designated outlets in the week leading up to Valentine's Day. In addition to that, the phone merchant's brand ambassador will be making deliveries to lucky customers this Valentine week. He made his first surprise delivery today. Our correspondent, Mary Alala Yusuf, was there.
Mr. Abraham Adeyinka has made an order for a phone, and he knows he's getting it today. What he does not know is that someone really special is bringing it.
Today we're going out, knocking on doors at this moment.
We tail our mystery delivery man down to Mr. Adeyinka's office. Finally at the delivery point, and the courier seems as excited as if he were receiving a gift.
The spirit of love is February, and everyone needs to be, to be surprised, to be happy. So I'm privileged. I'm the DA chairman today. Slot delivery man for the day. I hope it's a cocolet.
Abraham Adeyinka meets the delivery man.
How are you, my brother? Oh wow, special delivery. Hi. Good morning. Although you're not a coconut, but no. Mr. Coca, you want this wonderful gift, and I'm delivering this specially to you. I hope that smile to your face and also opens blessings for 2016 in this great year. Congratulations.
I was shocked, really, more like good shock, kind of, anyway. Amazed, I wasn't expecting it. Then we never had D'banj as a brand ambassador, so now the excitement is high, the expectations are great, and so many are looking forward to, could it be me that he's going to deliver to?
Slot promises discounts on all online purchases and purchases from designated outlets. In addition, D'banj could deliver your package. The brand ambassador is billed to make deliveries in Abuja tomorrow. Lagos today, Abuja tomorrow. Who knows where next? It might be your area.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, Kenyan officials deny plans to stop their athletes from participating in the Rio Olympics over Zika virus. We'll have details in sports news. Let's stay with us.